It's another one of those shoes where you're thinking, man, that guy's too old to know about this shoe, and I'm here to tell you, I'm here to set you straight, I'm here to put you on the right path, that you are absolutely correct. I am too old to know about this shoe, but I'm too young to know about it as well, which might come as a surprise to you because there's two different worlds going on here. We're talking an under-20s fashion designer, huge in the industry right now, a Los Angeles Lakers guard in there as well, and then you fly it all the way back to the 60s and 70s before even I was born. That's how ancient the history is in this shoe. And you've got that ancient history, and then you've got the relevant sort of contemporary history, cramming it together to bring us this shoe. And I'm going to tell you all about that. I'm going to give you what I know about the history, which I've learned and I've found out myself, and then I'm going to tell you my perspective on the shoe, which is more my own opinion and my own sort of feelings for the shoe. Now, I'm pretty confident about what I think about the shoe, but when it comes to the history and the story of the shoe, well, you know, I've done my best to find the right facts about this one, but if I get something wrong, well, you know, maybe I'll get something wrong. But without further ado, let's get into this and take a look at the Puma Clyde All Pro Kuzma Mid. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channelです。毎日アップするので、毎日見てください。And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today we're looking at Puma. I say Puma, you say Puma, maybe. In the UK, we say Puma. For example, we say Jaguar as well. I've actually forgotten. I've been in Japan so long that I've forgotten some words. And we say Nike as well. We don't say Nike. But I've been away for so long that I've got my languages all mixed up, and I'll flip. And sometimes I'll say Puma, and sometimes I'll say Puma, sometimes I'll say Nike, and sometimes I'll say Nike. But it doesn't matter. You know what I'm talking about. You know the shoe. You can see it behind me on the green screen. You've seen it in the title of this video. You've seen it in the thumbnail. You know the shoe that we're talking about. So whether I call it Puma or Puma, it doesn't really matter. It's a very cool shoe. It's a very interesting shoe, which has an awful lot going in it. And it's one of those shoes, I didn't really think about this before doing this video. I usually, you know, I did research this video, as I always do, find out as much as I can about the shoe and its story and things like that. But sometimes when I'm doing a video, something else occurs to me that I hadn't thought of. And the thing that occurs to me is that this shoe has three elements to it. It has the Puma element, it has the Kuzma element from the Los Angeles Lakers, and then it also has the Rude element, the design brand Rude. And I'm not even going to try and get the name of the founding designer of Rude because I'll get it way wrong. But it's those three things, or three people, Puma's a thing, tying it up together to come and bring this shoe out. But that's kind of a thing in the last couple of weeks at the channel. Just by pure chance, I've done videos that are sort of a collaboration of three different people or three different things instead of just a normal, you know, like Pharrell Williams, Adidas, boom, finished, or Kanye West, Adidas, boom, finished. But now, you know, we've got a few shoes that have been coming along recently that have three elements to it. I'm thinking of the Bill and Ted's Adidas Artillery High, which had a couple of elements going on as well alongside the brand Adidas itself. And then there's a shoe that I did sometime in the last week or so that also had like three different sort of elements to it. And here we are again today with that. So it's kind of a thing these days to have more than one collaborator on a sneaker. But that's just the way things rock, the way they roll. And right now, this shoe, like I said, you've got the Kuzma element and you've got the Rude. I'm going to stick with the company name and not try and pronounce the founder's name. But also the shoe itself is called the Puma Clyde, which is the bit of ancient history in this one, whereas Rude is very current and Kuzma is very current. The Clyde element of this is going back to the 60s and 70s, and I think it's a Knicks basketball player, and it's I don't know why it's called Clyde, because his actual name is something like Walter Reed or something like that, but the nickname Clyde in speech marks, and I think I'm right in saying he still calls games for the Knicks right now, and he's known for like his, or he was known for his like really colourful fashion, really bright and sort of pop-in outfits. So when he teamed it up with Puma, that's the sort of theme that came out in his shoes, were very loud and extravagant kind of shoes, and that sort of surprises me that we get this today, which is a much more laid back and toned down shoe. To me, there's more fashion in this shoe than there is function. You know what I'm saying? This is more about the street life than it is about the basketball life, even though it definitely still has that high feel. They call it a mid, but it looks like a high to me. My iPad just fell off of my stand. And they call it a mid, but it looks like a high to me, but that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong about that. And But it just because of the way the shoe's constructed and built together, it looks more like a fashion shoe, the kind of thing, like I say, you'd see on the high street than you would actually see on the courts. But it's a great looking shoe, and there's a lot of details in it. And that kind of tie up, like I said, to Clyde, who's more known for his colourful sort of extravagant things, and then you get this sort of laid back shoe. So I'm thinking Rude and the designers over at Rude have had more influence than Clyde himself on these guys. But like I say, Clyde was on the hardwood in the late 60s and early 70s. I think 2 championship rings in the early 70s. And I was born in 1976, just to clarify, 44 years old. So he's before my time, but then the people who are current in the shoe, like the brand Rude, not really my thing, don't know much about it. And the LA Lakers, I'm way out of touch with who's playing which positions in the teams these days, but I can tell you about the shoe and tell you the points of interest on it and what it is about it that makes it a great looking shoe. And the third Puma that I brought to the channel in the last 3 weeks or so, I did the Zetic. Is that Zetic? I think that was the name of the midsole unit on this very unique and high-tech midsole unit on one of their latest shoes. And the reason I brought these 2 shoes previously, the previous 2 Pumas, was because they fit my eye on that classic Puma kind of silhouette and style. I don't like kind of over extravagant shoes, so that's why this shoe really caught my eye, was because it is a very cool looking shoe, and there are some really interesting details on it. So the 2 most important details that I think I would go for on the shoe are at either end of it, vertically. So we're talking about up on the tongues and down on the outsole. So I think what I'll do is I'll zoom in on the tongues first, and we'll have a look at that. And you can see there's an oversized element of tongue branding on there with a very big Puma head. I'm assuming it's a Puma, but you rarely see that on Puma shoes. Usually the Pumas, the branding is that kind of leaping Puma, from a profile side of things, instead of being a large head of a Puma face on. Now that might be the original branding or some old branding. It'd be worth looking into actually to find out if that branding has got some story to it in the Puma line. But that oversized branding on the tongue is one of the major elements of design on the shoe and one of the major draws to it. And then, like I said, you flip it upside down and go to the outsole, the other end of the shoe, and you've got a really couple of important points going on here. One is the two-tone effect, where you've got the black and the gum sole. Now that's cool because it gives you a bit of definition. I like it when there's more than one colour on my outsoles. It just kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. But to me, the gum sole's a really great choice. Usually I kind of slam gum soles on shoes because I think they're kind of just thrown on there for no purpose. It's just like, yeah, chuck a gum sole on it, who cares? But this one, it really matches the upper. If you look at the design of the shoe and the structure of the shoe, it really looks good. But it's not just that, the gum sole, it's got the second colour in there in black to give a bit of definition. And then on top of that, you've also got some little segments that sort of look through to the midsole, which give you that kind of feel for design and that feel for premium, which you normally wouldn't get on basketball shoes, for example, which rely on a lot more durability than like say a Boost, for example, where you definitely look through the midsole. So you've got that element of looking through the midsole, the element of the gum sole, the element of the third colour in there, I suppose, in the black, which I think is really tops off the bottom half of the shoe. And like I said, it brings you that premium element, that fashion element. It's more fashion than function. That's what I was meaning when I said that at the start of this video. This is more about the designer and the design. Now, I had a look over at the Rude homepage, and I was rudely surprised, rudely awakened by the prices I saw over there, which were very, very expensive compared to what I would normally be able to get my hands on. So these guys, I think, are coming in at a price tag of something like $150, and I think I'm right in saying that the drop date is November 27th. Now, I'm shooting this video on November 20th, and it will go up on November 22nd, so that's a few days, about a week before the drop date, which is just where I like to be with my videos. I like to be able to bring you upcoming releases and stuff like that. So these guys are coming down the line pretty soon. There were 2 more in this kind of Rude tie-up with the Puma line, and I had to choose which one I went after. And it was this one that I decided to go for. There was a shoe like that recently at the channel as well. I was talking about, had 3 different choices. It was the Reebok, the Question Mid Yellow Toe, which dropped on my channel, the video on Friday a couple of days ago, and there's a sort of 3-pack there, and I chose just one of them to go after, the Yellow Toe. And then the same today, there was 3 shoes in this pack, and it was the Clyde All Pro I nearly said high, All Pro mids that decided to go after, because to me that's the more premium and fashion of the shoe. The other 2 were a little bit sort of less, they're kind of a bit more standard, but still $150 doesn't seem like that much for a rude piece of fashion and design. So it might be a shoe that does really well for Puma. It's a really interesting collaboration based out of LA. I think I'm right in saying the designer, whose name, like I said, I can't remember for the life of me. He started life out in the Philippines and then made his way to Los Angeles via Hong Kong and Saudi Arabia and Thailand, I think it was. And I like that about his story, though. He's got a really mixed up story, and then here we are with a really mixed up shoe with Clyde and Kuzma and the Rude brand itself and Puma in there as well. So it kind of fits the narrative of the Rude line. So I think it's a great looking shoe. It's a shoe you could wear anywhere, basketball to play the sports, or actually just like hanging out. I can imagine them with a pair of jeans sort of tucked into them to reveal the whole boot. So very cool shoe, very nice shoe to bring you. Hope you guys appreciate that. Bringing Puma to the channel is something I like to do to mix it up so it's not all Nike and Adidas, but that's just me, and that's how I roll. And speaking of rolling, it's time for me to roll to bed because it's late at night on Friday night and I need some sleep. So thank you guys for checking out the content, but I'll say what I'd say at the end of every single video, which is I do this every single day, so that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.